Hello again, fellow preppers. My goal today was to dig up some chicory to show you how far you have to dig down to get the long tap roots that they have, and how to pull apart plants. Sometimes several grow together. You want to make sure you separate them out so you're getting both roots, or sometimes three roots when the plants grow in a rather bushy format. But after, we're about to get rained on now. Somebody was doing a rain dance apparently. But after a fall to spring of record flooding and rainfall, we've been into a drought. And I have been digging for about 35 minutes and just making no headway. So instead, I'm showing you an area where there's plenty of chicory growing. And they tend to like pasture areas, just like wild carrots and daisies, or near pasture areas. I've not actually ever found chicory in my pasture. That could be because our free-range goats really love it. But it tends to grow in that type of an area, full sun. And it may very well grow in pasture. So if some of you have it grown in your pasture, please note that in the comments section. It's something you can find along roadsides, any area with full sun. It's not picky about soil, but here it tends to love hard clay soil. Hence my problem with the shovel just now. But so what I did was I went ahead and I worked and was able to work it out of the ground by kind of peeling back, which means I did not get this entire taproot. It's actually pretty much a waste of a good root in there. But I got enough that I can show you what it looks like, and I can dry it in the oven, showing that process also in a separate video. And then I can make some chicory tea or coffee, so you can see how to use this internally medicinally. But this taproot here is not quite as long as my index finger. I'd say it's at least 2 inches long, the portion I could get. You can see here where it was broken off. That's very unfortunate for me. And I also wanted you to note the flower. Some people might look at this chicory and think, oh, it's dead, it's dying, it's been sprayed, there's something wrong with it. And you never ever want to forage anything, even if you're just going to use it topically, from an area that you are not sure is free from chemical pesticides, insecticides. But chicory closes up about noon, maybe 10 o'clock on a sunny day, especially depending on your climate. The flowers themselves will close up and look a bit faded out. The legend has it that there was a young maiden with a suitor that she didn't care for, and he was rather persistent and was going to make her his no matter what. And he was so angry after all of his repeated advances, he blew up into the sky and became part of the sun, if I'm not butchering the legend too badly. And the woman was turned into a chicory flower. And during the day, when the sunshine comes out very vividly, she did not want to be exposed to him or have him see her. So she would close herself up when the sun came out, then open back up again in the evening, just like she does in the morning. So if you see a plant that looks like any of these here that you can see, some of the colors have faded a bit because of the intense sun. Chicory is usually a blue to purple. There's sometimes white or pink flowers, and the flowers in the background that you can see that are white, they were purple yesterday. There's new growth on there, and they get darker as they grow and also lighter as they die, and the climate will affect it. Gardens around here that got put in late because of all the flooding are now getting scorched. So we've had a heck of a growing season. But I just wanted to show you a bit what these roots look like and their thickness. You always need to make sure that you wash them off very good, because they're of course going to be dirty coming out of the ground. And you want to cut the root off right here at the crown area where it starts to delve into the stem. Try to get it wiped off enough here so you can actually see where the root ends. I'll just scrape it a bit. But see how the root's very wide there and it spreads out, kind of like going from a torso to legs. You want to snip off this stem part and save just the main part of the root when you're drying it to roast it for coffee to drink, or use it as a coffee substitute or a flavoring additive, or to make medicine. Now the stems and the leaves and the flowers also have healing properties and can be eaten, but that's not what we're working on right now. So I'm not saying to pitch them, but you just want to cut that off before the root. And some roots branch off a lot more than others, and you are going to need a sharp knife, because as you can see, they are thick. This one's peeling away a bit, which is unusual, but I think that's more to our weather than anything. But here the root is. You have more root growing off down here, spreading out to another bunch. But you'll need to cut each one of these individually off, where they crown off into a stem, and then you can chop them up smaller to roast, and then grind. But the root is about a thumb's width in thickness. It's a very thick root for such a pretty, dainty looking little plant. But you will dig down, hopefully have a lot more success than I did. I kind of had to butcher these to make the video. But you need to start, it's not a wide root, as you can see, as far as, you know, thinking about a tree or anything else because of its thick, of how long it goes down into the ground. Taproots can go down a foot. Some people say 2 feet. But it's about a thumb's width. So you want to make sure you get back, just to make sure you don't nick it, because the plants and roots don't necessarily grow straight up. You can see how this one is curved. So I would say scoot back about 6 inches from the center of the plant, and it spreads out a good bit. But go about 6 inches from the center, which might put you about 3 from the way the stems are leaning as they grow heavy with flowers. That should get you back plenty far enough that you're not going to dig into the root. You can go back further away if you want to, just be a little extra work. But you need to dig down a good foot. And as you dig down, then you need to go take your hands and pull back the dirt and look to see the root. Oh, we're going to get rain now. We're getting thundering, so I will speed this up, guys. You want to dig with your hands a bit back in the hole like this and spread it out so you see the root, and just gently try to lift it up a little bit to tug on it. You don't want to separate it because the root gets thinner and easier to tear as you go further down, to make sure you have it on. If you're tugging just lightly and it's not coming out in your hand, there's more root and you need to dig down further. Okay guys, getting rained on and it's 100 degrees, so I don't mind getting cooled off, but I don't want to blur up the camera screen here. So I'm going to stop now, and the next video will show you how we process this and get ready to roast it and turn it into a coffee.